thank you very much for joining the live stream or for watching the recording. Sorry for the weird face on the beginning because there was some message from YouTube that I'm allowed to do something now, whatever, and it stopped the live stream for a bit, but I'm all yours now. For today's live stream, I decided to pick a topic which might be interesting to you because it will be about the best and the worst passports you can have in relation to getting a Czech visa. So in other words, what passports are most likely to get visas approved and what passports are least likely to get visas approved. So of course, this kind of depends. This kind of depends because it might be different for different visa types. Because for example, if you apply for a blue card, then the chances of approval are almost the same for any passport. You know, whatever passport you have, the blue card is like a very solid type of residence permit. So if you get the chance to apply with your passport, most likely you will be approved. But for business visa, for example, that's completely opposite. That might be way easier for some nationalities than for some others. So it kind of depends on the visa type, but generally, I want to give you a general idea. There are obviously no like official statistics publicly available about this because the ministry does not really want to tell you, okay, if you have this passport, you don't even try. If you have this passport, then you have like 100% chance of approval. That's never there, but close to it maybe. But we've worked with about 17 to 18,000 clients in the last 12 years, and they were from over 100 different countries, 100 different nationalities. So we have some amount of data we can share, and this is the outcome. So I will first go through the best passports to get a Czech visa approved, and there is one group which is generally better. I will explain in a second, but then I will give you like three kind of subgroups divided into like these categories based on like super high likely to get approved, high likely to get approved, high likely but slightly less to get approved, and like, you know, it's just about the feeling. It's the same category, it's just a bit different approach of the ministry, so a bit different feeling about that. So these groups. So, and then at the end, I will give you the worst countries or the worst passports to get a Czech visa. So stick with me. This will not be long. Might be like another 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Will be probably shorter than the intro. Sorry for that. But let's go into that now. So generally speaking, the world from the Czech Republic's perspective and the visa perspective, the world is divided into two groups. First, visa-free stay. Those are countries whose citizens can come to the Czech Republic with no visa required. And then the rest of the world, which means that if you're from that country, you need to get a visa even for a one-day stay. Yeah? And this already kind of sets apart the bad passports and the good passports. So if you are in this like exception group where you can come to the Czech Republic with no visa required, it already means that your passport is pretty strong, whatever visa you want to apply for. Doesn't mean that you will get it like 100%. It depends still on the visa type, but it's more likely than the rest of the world, because if you need a visa to even visit short term, that means that the politics is not really good in these countries like Czech Republic and the other counterparty, and it's less likely to get the visa approved. So I will give you the three different groups, and they're based on this list of, I don't know, 50 countries that have a visa-free stay in the Czech Republic. So the best group, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United States, and United Kingdom. I would say these five, whatever type of visa you apply for, most likely you will be approved unless you mess something up. Of course, if you say something stupid during the interview, or if you don't have all the documents, or they're not strong, they're not good, then you will be denied as well. There is no like 100% guarantee you will get a visa. But if you're from Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United States, and United Kingdom, the chances are pretty high. That's the best passports you can have. And the second group, the second group would be Israel, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, and that's it. Yeah, so that would be the second group. If you're from one of these countries, your chances are still very high. And yeah, most likely whatever type of visa you will get, you will apply for, you will get. Of course, it depends again, but still, I would say this is the second best group of passports to have. The third group of passports would be Bosnia and Herzegovina, Brazil, Costa Rica, Mauritius, Mexico, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. So that would be the third group of countries where you still have very high chances of getting approved whatever type of visa you apply for. And then the rest from the list of countries which have the visa-free stay, which is, I will just give you a few because it's like 50, so I would read it for a long time. But the most common ones, let's say Albania, Argentina, Barbados, Georgia, Chile, Montenegro, Colombia, Malaysia, Moldavia, Paraguay, Peru, North Macedonia, United Arab Emirates. I would not, yeah, but okay, it's in the list, so yeah, it's still pretty good. Serbia, Ukraine, and Venezuela. So those would be the some chosen ones, because the rest, those are countries like Palau, Trinidad and Tobago. We had some clients from Trinidad actually, but that's definitely not like a majority of people moving here. So like a smaller countries, or not smaller countries, but from the perspective of people living in the Czech Republic from those countries. So those were the best passports to have from the perspective of getting a Czech visa approved. The worst. Generally, I would say the whole Africa. There used to be an exception for South Africa, where I would say the chances were pretty good as well, but that somehow disappeared in the last 2-3 years. So I actually don't really know if there is something happening between the Czech Republic and South Africa, but the rules have been tightened for South Africans as well. So South Africans used to be a big group of our clients, but that stopped 2-3 years ago. So the visas are like more complicated to get. So I don't know again what's going on there, but used to be a better country to be from. The worst in Africa would be the north part. So if you're from Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, Tunisia, probably choose a different country to move to. Yeah, of course, there are some types of visas that are more likely to get denied because of some things, let's say, happening in those countries in relation to the Czech Republic. But generally from these countries like North Africa, that's pretty bad. So the chances of approval generally not that high. The rest of Africa, maybe student visa might be a good option if you really want to study, but they do pretty deep interviews, so it's not really yeah, anyway. So African countries, yeah. And then most of Asian countries, but I would say Africa is definitely the worst. The North Africa completely like the worst on the bottom. If we don't talk about North Korea, that's probably the worst. But like North Africa, that's bad. The rest of Africa, it's still bad, but maybe a bit better. And then Asia, generally. In Asia, it kind of varies because Japan, South Korea, those are also like Asian countries, but those are they have very high chances, as I mentioned before. If you're from countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, these kind of countries, the chances might be pretty high for some type of residence permits. The rest might be pretty complicated as well. But that also kind of weirdly that changes in Asia. The approach changes in time. Maybe because it's like a very active zone right now, geopolitically, let's say. So maybe because of that. But there've been like plenty of changes, like approach to Indians, approach to Pakistanis, approach to Vietnamese. There have been a pretty big shift a couple years ago, so that changes a lot. So I guess that's it. Let me see your comments because there might be some questions regarding this. So Israeli passport, yeah, I answered that. Senegal, hi from Senegal or hi to Senegal. Unfortunately, the chances of you getting a Czech visa are not too high. Hello from Pakistan, university add me to student regime. Yeah, if they add you to student regime, then your chances are pretty high, but that's generally for the student visa. Hiba Dahmani, is there a risk to get rejected when applying for a blue card as an Algerian citizen? Again, as I mentioned, there are some types of residence permits which are better, and the blue card is definitely better because in case of you applying for a blue card, the Czech Republic or the Ministry of the Interior does not really check you as the applicant. They do, of course, you need a criminal check, all that, but they mainly check your employer. So for a blue card, you have very high chances if your employer is in good standings. So if it's like a big company, if they don't have any debts against the government, like social security for their employees or healthcare for their employees, stuff like that, then your chances are very high. If it was some small company, maybe they had some debts or maybe they didn't have a real office or whatever, then the chances would drop significantly. But blue card in general is a pretty good residence permit to apply for. Ghana, yeah, I mentioned it before. Kosovo, let me see. Kosovo, I will not embarrass myself, so I'm not gonna say anything. And the rest, these are not related to this question or this topic, blah blah blah. Pakistan, well, I would say it depends on the type of residence permit you want to apply for. For some types, like business visa, employee card, would be very difficult. For student visa, might be easier. Blue card, yeah, that's the same as I was talking about now. So that's pretty good type of residence permit to apply for. Partnership visa or like visa based on marriage depends on the case, like how strong and how real is your relationship. So definitely not the best. India, yeah, I talked about that. Kirol is laughing. And Cameroon, yeah, I talked about that as well. Like generally speaking, African countries, that's difficult. Kirol, anyway, loving these format of videos, keep them coming. Like you mean these kind of random facts where I don't really talk about the immigration stuff? Okay, noted. Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you very much for joining, and I will see you again Thursday, Monday, until the end of the world. Good night.